me intentionally, I'm trying to always think, am I leading? Am I following, or am I going to get out of the way? Right? I'm going to let my team do what they do best and just kind of, be a supporter, or do I need to lead them to help develop them? So development happens in many, many ways.
Join us as today's host, James Rogers, sits down with Jason Valentine, a visionary leader in the food and beverage space whose cutting-edge innovations at Botrista are reshaping how restaurants enhance their beverage offerings.
We're here. This is James Rogers, COO of the Prosper Forum. This is the Prosper Brief, a show dedicated to elevating the future of hospitality and food service. And we're here with Jason Valentine.
Jason, got it. Yeah.
He is Chief Strategy Officer with Botrista.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Looking forward to this. It's been a great event. I mean, exciting, passionate, energizing, all the above.
Excellent. Well, we're pleased to have you, and Botrista is a sponsor with us, and thank you all very much for sponsoring.
Yep.
But we also know you've got a pretty cool story and a pretty cool background, and we'd love to dive into that with you and learn a little bit more about you and your company. So,
Sure.
First of all, I would ask you kind of tell us about yourself.
Yeah, well, it depends what version you want. If you want the 2-minute version or the 20-minute version?
Whatever you feel. Probably maybe in the middle.
I'll do the 4-minute version. How about that? So,
yeah,
so Jason Valentine, currently the Chief Strategy Officer at Botrista. But my story really starts as a child. So my father worked in the Ray Kroc era. Mm-hmm. So if you don't know Ray Kroc, you're probably shouldn't be watching this. Obviously, Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's. Mm-hmm. So my dad worked in that era. And my story starts there because I grew up in a restaurateur entrepreneurial family, right? Like all about restaurant operations. Mm-hmm. When I was younger, maybe 5 or 6 year old, my dad left McDonald's and became a franchisee of a brand called Cousin Stubbs. Yep. And throughout my early childhood, early teenage years, and even late teens, I always worked for my family business, right? So a franchisee family. I always loved the interaction of the restaurant employees and the guests and just the energy and the challenges behind that. Mm-hmm. So it's all I knew. Mm-hmm. So, coming out of high school, going to college, I didn't really think there was another option. At the time in my world, it was very, all about restaurants, and I just was going to take over my family business and work there forever. Sure. Right. So what happened is I did take over the family business for a handful of years, and then I joined Cousins Corporate based out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I was a COO or VP of operations there for a handful of years. And then I jumped to another brand called Zoop Eatery and spent a good amount of years there. And then actually exited that business about 2.5 years ago and then joined Botrista. So all restaurant leadership, pretty much what I know and what I eat and breathe. Yeah.
So you kind of, it's in your blood.
I would say so.
Yeah. Your dad raised you up to be in the restaurant industry, and
he did. I felt like I was groomed. Almost like I maybe prefer like a basketball player or Major League Baseball, but yeah, he groomed me to definitely be a restaurant executive.
Just kind of curious about that. Cause obviously fathers are a big influence. What's one thing that sticks out to you, from that experience that you'd say is like, this is what my dad taught me? And
it's the never ending one-liners, time to lean, time to clean,
yeah.
5 minutes early is late, whatever, there's 100 of them.
What's the one?
And it was like a constant learnings.
I remember I used to work at Starbucks. I remember slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Yeah.
There's a bunch. Someone should write a book if it doesn't exist.
Yeah, they probably will.
Yeah. So just the constant lessons and the time, I spent with him. Oddly enough, after I stopped working for him and I took on other leadership roles in the industry, we still had that common factor of discussion, right? We kind of that language we would speak, and obviously we have a personal relationship. A lot of the conversation was just around the industry.
Yeah.
Right. So it was fun.
What was it like, that dynamic of being father and son, kind of having to bob and weave and work day and then go home?
Well, it's all I knew, but essentially when I became the franchisor, he was still a franchisee. So then I kind of became the authority figure. But I still knew my place at Christmas time and Thanksgiving, but it was great. It's just what I knew, and I really enjoyed it. So, and what, the relevant part of that part of my career was really now in a leadership role, whether it was at a restaurant group or now that it's on the partnership side, leading a beverage company. It really is the knowledge of understanding every level of the organization, right? I can feel what it's like to be the cashier. You know what it's like to close at 10 p.m. and someone walks at 9:58, right? I can feel everything about the industry as we're trying to support and partner with brands. And just having that knowledge and understanding is important. And I can talk about later, but it's not for Botrista. We've actually built a restaurant leadership team.
Yes.
Right. So a lot of our organization are people that are from restaurants, right? Because we're beverage experts, and we'll talk about what Botrista does soon. So I'm jumping to it. But it's not just about my restaurant experience. Essentially, it's about us using restaurant experts to build a beverage partner for the industry.
Yeah. Well, that's a good segue. Let's talk about Botrista. Tell us a little bit about what you do. What is this company all about? I saw a little bit of NRA. It was very interesting, but love to hear more.
It's fun. It's beverages. It's cold beverages. So we're an automated cold beverage platform. Essentially, touch a button and you can have any cold beverage you can dream of. Name a cold beverage.
Iced coffee.
Done. What else?
Quickly, right?
Quickly.
What about orange juice?
Orange juice. Anything cold on ice. So we do frappes, boba, smoothies, cocktails, lemonades, refreshers, teas. We do shakes, anything cold. And the cool thing about it is the time in the market where cold beverages are hot, no pun intended.
Oh, big time.
75% of Starbucks sales are cold beverages, which is something that, if you don't know, usually shocks you. That most of the consumers at Starbucks are getting a cold beverage. So we partner with all food and beverage providers, whether it's restaurants or colleges or healthcare or theme parks, and we power their beverage program through technology.
Yeah, and that's really augmenting their need for labor a little bit, right? I mean, you guys are coming in and doing some. What does that look like from a store level? It's
interesting. So we're a beverage company, and the initial reaction when you see our technology is, it saves labor, and people look at it as a labor savings. That's true, but it's actually more an opportunity to serve different beverage categories you otherwise couldn't do without adding labor complexity.
Yes.
So think about a restaurant group that only serves soda and iced tea. Right. To serve other categories is complicated in the past. But now with Botrista, we can put one bot in there and they can serve categories like smoothies or shakes or frozen lemonades, a variety of categories, boba refreshers. And boba's huge if you haven't gotten the memo.
Big time.
Are you familiar?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So now the restaurant who would only could serve soda now has this one bot that serves a variety of categories. So we actually help our partners to increase sales without adding labor. Less of a trying to save labor from what they already do, more add top line sales without the complexity, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and optionality, right?
Absolutely. And options. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's what people want to know. Hey, I don't want that today. I want this.
Yeah.
Right, so.
And, restaurants for years always wanted to serve, and many have, but there's many that didn't want to serve more than just soda. So when I was a president and CEO of Zoop Eatery, 100-year brand based out of Michigan, we had soda and lemonade. The founder always wanted to serve smoothies, right? It was perfect for the brand, health halo, indulgent. The problem was that to add smoothies to your operations requires, multiple stations, a sink, a cooler for supplies, the blenders, countertops, and just this big 10-foot area. And we just never did it. So when I started with Botrista, what always stuck with me is there's restaurants that want to add categories, but they can't do it because it's too complex. And that's where Botrista comes in.
That's excellent. Yeah, and your machines are amazing. I mean, it's kind of fun to watch them work. Yeah. And it's a beautiful experience getting my iced coffee at the NRA. So
absolutely. I'm glad you came over. It was very busy there. And with Botrista, you kind of have to see in action.
Oh, yeah.
So the one thing is the quality is amazing. So we do pride ourselves on the ingredients.
Oh, yeah.
So for those that don't know, Botrista, we can customize recipes. So let's take a strawberry lychee green tea, right? So it's not just a normal recipe. Each ingredient is dispensed separately to make the recipe exactly how the brand wants. So you can change the strawberry, change the cane sugar, change the lychee, tweak it exactly to your liking. And you'll find our partners have very different beverage recipes based on what fits their food and what fits their desires, right?
What about the customer? Are they able to tweak things and kind of mess with the recipes?
So we're back of the house operator.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's back for now. We will have self-service in the future, right? But right now, back of the house has been a home run. So what we're looking to do and help our partners make more money is when you have a back of the house operation, you can charge more.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a premium experience, right? We have a blender that aerates the beverage and gives it that texture, shaken, not stirred, right? So it's a back of the house experience that you can charge $4 to $6 for, as opposed to a self-service cup that's hard to get higher value.
When I worked at Starbucks, the big thing we always stressed was standardized practice, and best practices, and making sure that you had the same cup of coffee, whether you're on the East Coast or West Coast.
Absolutely.
And it seems like this would be an incredible tool for improving kind of that standardized, you get what you expect as a customer, right?
It is. So with the technology, our founder is from Taiwan, he's a serial entrepreneur, and his story is great. Probably don't have time for it today, but Sean, our founder, is an amazing individual. He worked at Tesla for 7 years.
Oh man.
As a fluid dynamic engineer.
So he knows a little bit about building.
He's a genius. He left Tesla and started Botrista. And I'm getting to the point that when he created Botrista, he created the ability to dispense thick quality purees or concentrates with precise accuracy, right? So that eliminates mistakes. So when you have a pump of liquid, you're pumping a strawberry, or you're doing something by hand, we all know it could taste different. With Botrista, it gives it that consistency. So literally anyone can touch a button and make the exact same drink.
Man, that's pretty cool.
It's fun. It's easy. It's easy selling. And one of the things we are looking to do is just educate people on what we do.
Sure.
Right. We're not trying to sell anyone because it's obvious the value, right? Awesome beverages, easy to make, variety and categories. And it's just been a no-brainer for a lot of our partners. And, it's fun to kind of show people what it does and then see their mind kind of click. Like, what could I do with this?
Yeah.
I get people call me all the time. I have these new ideas with Botrista. The options are unlimited. There's a lot of places we could enter with Botrista. We are very focused on a few segments, but there's a lot of opportunity.
I don't think you said it, but what's your favorite Botrista beverage?
It changes. So much like my favorite kid, depends on the week, but I would go with refresher popping bobas.
Okay.
So, or the, I would say matcha milk tea with brown sugar tapioca.
Yeah. Do you have one at home?
We don't.
Not yet?
My kids have asked.
For you.
We don't. No, we don't. We don't have at home. You have to drink a lot of beverages. I have one a few miles from my house.
Okay.
I do bring ingredients home. So I brought home like a 5-gallon tub of popping boba. Yeah. My kids and their friends wipe that out like within 2.5 days. Oh, man. Yeah. So I helped out, but
it's fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of great drinks. Shakes is actually, no, that's my answer. Shakes. So our new shake lineup is amazing. And we have these shakes that we put chocolate popping boba in, which is amazing shake experience.
That
right. So like a vanilla shake with a chocolate popping boba, you get those flavors that complement each other.
Yeah.
The texture. So that's my favorite. That's my answer.
That's a good answer. Well, thank you for sharing that. And,
absolutely.
Changing subjects a little bit, I'd love to know a little bit more about, you're a sponsor here at the Prosper Forum. We're currently in the foyer outside the ballroom, enjoying this experience together. Thank you for partnering with us. But, what made you think about, or what drew you to be a partner with the Prosper Forum? Yeah, I mean, it played out over time. So Jocelyn Rogers, the director of brand partnerships, brought this opportunity to me. And essentially what I saw and what she presented was an opportunity to be a part of something that was a greater good. Yeah. Right. And a level of networking and sharing experiences, sharing opportunity that does exist in restaurants, but this is done very differently. Okay. So we were attracted to just the level of commitment from the people that were involved. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it was already a well-established organization with a lot of support behind it, with a good cause. And essentially, for me, the best thing about restaurants are providing opportunity. Yeah. Right. So there's stories out there across the industry of people starting as cashiers or, fry cooks, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. I started as a team member, whatever it might be. So when I looked at what Prosper did, and the focus was to provide opportunity to those to help them accelerate, their career. That's right. It's fun to be a part of. That's so awesome. It's something that, as a team, we decided we want to be involved in. Well, welcome to the table. We're glad you're here, and thank you. And how's the experience been so far this week?
Yeah, it's been great. So it is amazing to watch the networking going on, because there's just a range of level of individuals in their career right now here at Prosper. And what I love the most would be that the senior leadership of restaurants, no matter the brand or the partner, they're all authentically trying to give back and just help others, right? Yes. So you haven't seen a lot of people kind of on their own. There's a lot of talking, there's a lot of conversation, there's a lot of, again, authentic desire to just share experiences and meet people. And if I think about myself, let's say when I was younger in my career, having this type of opportunity, I mean, must be a great experience.
Yeah.
Right. Just to get that exposure to the different leaders in the industry and the thought leadership and just the people that you can call and maybe, help you in the future. So,
yeah, we like to say, what would your career or my career be like if we had our Rolodex of relationships when we were starting or earlier in our career?
Absolutely.
What would our career be like now? Just so you know, right?
It'd be accelerated is what it would be.
Yeah. Exactly right. Yeah. And that's what we're trying to do, but, hopefully the goal is to see our accelerators do incredible things and to really seed that bench of talent so that our industry continues to grow and that we can continue to make the restaurant industry a place that people want to build careers.
Absolutely.
Whether it's on the supplier side or the restaurant side of things or in other elements of food service, hospitality. But that's a big goal for us. And I think it's kind of our mission is to really improve those things and give more people opportunities, right? So
and that's attractive to me. And it was attractive to Botrista, being a part of the industry. For me, one of my passions has always been taking pride in working at a restaurant. Right. And unfortunately, sometimes at the restaurant level, people there don't feel proud about it. People ask where they work. They might not want to tell them they work at a restaurant.
Yeah.
And I'm the opposite. Like, I think it's amazing people at the restaurant level, what they do and the commitment, and it's hard work. And, whether it's a manager or GM or cashier or director of operations or someone at the corporate office, there's so many opportunities out there for individuals. So getting more people in this industry, would be amazing. I think it's the greatest industry in the world.
Absolutely.
Prove me wrong.
I agree.
Okay.
hard to not sell me on that. It's an easy one. Well, tell us a little bit more about you. I'd love to hear a little bit about, what was your favorite achievement that you've in your career as you've gone from being in that, starting out, whether it's when you were working with cousins, your dad, or what's your favorite experience or your favorite achievement that you've had?
Yeah, interesting. I don't have one that sticks out that's a big one, but what I'm proud of and I enjoy is kind of looking back and seeing the people I worked with and where they ended up. Right. So whether it was someone that was a manager of mine or whether it was someone at the corporate office that was like a director of training and they end up being the VP of operations. Right. So for me, the greatest achievement is really being part of multiple teams and seeing the career growth that those individuals achieved. I mean, the multiple conversations that, you talk to someone, okay, where do you want to be in 10 years? I want to be the COO, or I want to be a director of operations, or, a marketing manager, whatever it is. And then looking back and seeing them actually achieve that, that's fun. Right. And it's just great to be a part of that. And definitely my greatest achievement is, helping people on the way. And then obviously other people helping me. Yeah.
So sounds like kind of your leadership philosophy is about developing others.
I like to think so. I mean, some might disagree.
What are some practical ways you could share with our audience today that you develop others that would, whether you're an accelerator here or somebody else, how do you do that? Share a little bit about that.
So I have something that I've been going by the last 5 years that is, I think, very compelling for me at my career point and should be compelling to others. But it's a saying, it's called lead, follow, or get out of the way.
Right.
So when we talk about developing others, to develop other people, you have to give them opportunity.
Sure.
So as a younger leader, I probably was guilty of always deciding what we were going to do, always leading.
Yes.
And what that does is that actually minimizes people's growth and development. So when I say lead, follow, or get out of the way, me intentionally, I'm trying to always think, am I leading? Am I following, or am I going to get out of the way? Right? I'm going to let my team do what they do best and just kind of, be a supporter, or do I need to lead them to help develop them? So development happens in many, many ways. But for me, it's lead, follow, or get out of the way. And then by result, you're developing people.
Yeah. And you can dictate or you can help people discover, right?
And there's times you have to lead, by the way. I mean, as a leader, you have to lead in certain situations. By not leading, you're actually, hurting people's development.
Right.
But the over leading is what I've become conscious of. And really, I find it very enjoyable to get out of the way, especially when it's something I should not be doing.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not good
I need you to step up.
Yes.
I need you to take this. Yeah. Otherwise, you get hamstrung.
You do.
Get buried and you can't get buried.
Well, I also found out that what stresses people out the most is when they're leading something that they're not good at.
Ooh, yeah.
Right. So have me do a spreadsheet, you're going to see a very stressful situation and it's not good. Right. So it's very empowering, not just for me, but for my team.
Yeah.
And I think others to have that freedom to add value where they can add value at a high level, and then let others step and add value where they can't.
Yeah. Well, what challenges are you seeing on the other side? What's difficult currently about retaining or attracting employees in your organization?
Well, what's interesting is right now, nothing's difficult as far as getting people to want to work for us. So we have a company that's scaling very quickly, right? So fifth year, across 45 states, the preferred beverage platform for colleges, theme parks, restaurants, like we're growing. So for us, it's been more about, the harder part is telling people, no, we don't have a job for you because we can't hire everyone. Right. So, we've been blessed with a lot of great employees that have stuck with us, and we're blessed with a lot of employees that want to be a part of what we're doing. Right. So, but the focus for every employee we have is, okay, where can you be best served? Right. And our founder, Sean, very good at recognizing talent, and also very good at understanding that one person can't be everything to everyone, but one person should find a way to be part of an organization and add contributions that they can feel good about.
Yeah.
So, I mean, challenges would be keeping up with the scale of how we're growing.
Yeah.
Right. So that'd be the biggest employee challenge. And our culture is a very entrepreneurial. So if you're not an entrepreneurial, scrappy, go quickly with change type of person, not the best environment for a company that's scaling quickly.
Right.
But if you are, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Being a part of a startup, we're kind of similar in that way. It's like you're strapped to a rocket and you don't always know where it's going, and you just buckle up, hang on, and try to help push it in the right direction. Right. But
it's funny because when you're a startup, then you start to develop in a mature company where we're at right now, it still has that startup feel because you're still growing, right?
Yeah.
So initially when you start up, it's like, how are we going to grow this? Now we're growing it. How are we going to keep up? Okay. And it is fun. So I enjoy it at least.
Right on. So what ideas are you personally passionate about in our industry? What's top of mind for you right now as you look at what's happening in the restaurant industry?
Well, automation and AI, of course. And then really what does that mean? Right. And how are you going to leverage it to succeed as opposed to introduce complexity?
Yes.
Because one of my experiences and observations is over time, when you add technology to restaurants, often you add too much technology, and it creates complications and it creates pain for the guest and the employee. So for me, I'm passionate about automation that actually helps the guests and the employee experience. Right. So very focused on, if we can have the employee have a better experience, that's going to also help the guests.
Yeah.
Obviously, Botrista is automation. We've approached it from a 95% automation perspective, where we're not fully automated. Right. The employee still has to pick up the pitcher and pour it into the cup for that premium drink. But we're 95% automated. Right. We can have it where even the cashier hits the button and then it goes to the bot and it starts making the drink. So I'm passionate about automation. I think I'm optimistic about it, but I think the full automation is going to be interesting how that continues to integrate with the industry. Full automation presents a lot of problems.
Yeah.
If you look at what's out there, often there's a lot of failures in full automation. It's going to happen, and it is happening. I'm not against it, but to scale full automation is going to be a process.
Yeah.
So one of the theories we took is that we want reliability versus fully automated, because Sean did build a fully automated beverage system. What he found, it was too expensive and not reliable. Right. So with that 95% automation that we approach we took, we're having a 99% uptime.
Okay.
Right. So if we went to full automation, which we may do in the future, there's just some real obstacles that we have to overcome as an industry to make sure it's consistent and reliable.
Yeah. And you strip out, like I mentioned, Starbucks.
Yes.
Thousands and thousands of drinks called out, caramel frappuccino.
Absolutely.
And there's something about when you look at your customer in the eye and you say, here you go.
Yeah.
And you also are there to recover if there's a miss. It's so important that people feel like they're seen, they're heard, that their beverage is right. And as a Starbucks guy myself, I go in there, I drink it, and when it's wrong, that's not fun. There's nobody there.
Correct. Who do I talk to?
Yeah.
I was
get the machine rebooted.
I was on a cruise ship, and they had the automated arm making the drinks. It took a while, of course, because it was going to be like a 6-minute experience, and then it wasn't accurate. And who do I talk to? The best thing was I could tip.
Yeah.
I was allowed to tip the
Oh,
robot.
man.
I think I did. I suckered in that. But yeah, one of the things we talk about is automation does not replace hospitality.
Right.
And many agree with that.
Absolutely.
Right. So that experience with the person, engagement, and then that person to, solve problems if there are some.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, I guess another question I think I would want to know from you is what common mistakes are you seeing? What's going on with the implementation of AI with all these?
Sure.
What are people getting right? What are they not getting right now currently?
Forcing it is what we're not getting right at times.
Yeah.
And being a little more too aggressive with it. And I think there's been, I don't want to pick on any specific technology because I feel like that would be calling vendors out. But there's been situations where there's implementation of technology that helps the order taking process or employee process. And we just got to work through that.
Yeah.
So I think that's an opportunity for the industry is to see where it helps and see where it doesn't.
Yeah.
For us, I'll speak to my company, which I wake up every day thinking about. So I'll talk about that. But our AI is really focused on helping us customize the perfect beverage menu for our partners.
Right.
So when we create beverage menus, we have two approaches that we combine. We have the culinary expertise of our team, and then we have data and AI to tell us what is the perfect menu for this brand. So we take the food pairings, we take the flavorings of the categories and the recipes, and then our data and AI will help us determine what is the best beverage category and beverage recipes for that brand.
Do you take into consideration the average consumer they're dealing with, or that was socioeconomic,
Absolutely.
all that stuff?
Yeah,
Wow.
demographics,
Wow.
absolutely. Data points from multiple areas. The big ones would be obviously demographics, what food they serve, right, their consumer, and then what's trending as well. The combination between, trending and, something that's stable and just predictable. Yeah. So as example, we sell a lot of strawberry lemonade across all of our partners, right? So it's just a table stakes. You got to have a great strawberry lemonade. But then what is that consumer that is looking for something new and fresh? What can that be? So that's where we use data in our culinary team to try to find the combination of a menu that, meets expectations and then stretches creativity and innovation.
How complicated is it then to bring in like testing? Like, okay, we're going to drop a test market of this. Is that pretty complicated?
Super easy and super easy and fun.
Wow.
I mean, it might look complicated from the outside in. One of the things we're proud of is that we control our hardware, software, and our ingredient supply chain. So as a beverage company, we've sourced all the ingredients globally. Whoa. So my favorite picture, and I'd show it if I could here, of all time is getting a text from our founder, Sean. Okay. He's in Japan in a matcha field, the 7th generation matcha field, trying to find the perfect matcha for us. Man. So as far as standing up a test, we have the ingredients, we have the hardware. We could be anywhere in the US in 2 weeks with a test. All that looks like is, hey, I want to do a test. All right, here's the menu we're going to propose to you as the beverage experts. Give us your feedback, make changes and tweaks. Our team shows up. It's a all-in-one package, and we implement a test, and we get to consumer right away.
Man, that's fascinating.
Yeah, it is fascinating, especially for those that have ordered equipment or implemented tests before.
Yeah, it takes forever.
The reason we did an all-in-one approach is because if we control it, then we can execute it for those brand partners. And we want to do the heavy lifting. So they can essentially guide us on what they're looking for in their vision. We can execute it, and they can obviously implement easily into their locations.
Man. So it seems like one of the hallmarks is simplicity, but adding value not only to the consumer, but also to the employee experience, and trying to just really build all that together so everybody wins, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, deliver that end consumer a great quality beverage is what we're doing. Yeah. And then how we get there, we want it to be simple.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing about that.
Yeah, it's fun.
I got one more question for you.
What's that?
We're here again. The Prosper Accelerator program is, in blooming. The 2024 the second class has been announced, and we brought them to stage yesterday. And if you had an opportunity to step up in front of them and share, one pearl of wisdom, something that they can hang on to, kind of like what you were talking about with your dad, right?
Yeah.
What would you share with them? Maybe it's something your dad said, maybe it was something you've learned. But what's the one thing you'd share with our Accelerator crew?
This won't be anything that's innovative or new, but I think it's relevant. you need to visualize where you want to be and put a plan together on how to get there. Does not mean be impatient. Doesn't mean jump around from job to job. Just understand where your career is going and think about how you're going to get there. The other thing I would mention is that as soon as you feel like you're plateaued or in a box, you should really understand where you want to be from that point on. So what I have observed, and in my, I guess, 20 years in the industry or in the business, is that people at some point get put in a box. Right. So you're at a restaurant brand, or you're at a partner vendor. Like, you become, that you're a second baseman. Right. Yeah. You're not going to be a pitcher. You're not going to be a catcher. You're not going to be an outfielder. So at some point, if you get to the point where you're in that box and you are a second baseman and that's how everyone views you, it's okay if you're really only a second baseman. But if you want to be a pitcher and you want to evolve, you really need to step back and, okay, how are you going to get there? Have those conversations within your organization on your desires. And quite frankly, I don't encourage people to leave businesses, but sometimes you need to take jumps outside of where you are to get out of the box. So, I look back at my career and I felt like I always moved right at the point where I was in that box. Right. And for me, I was never comfortable kind of plateauing. And I always loved what I did when I left. After many had 5-6 years or more. But people getting stuck in a box is real. And I think that people should be thoughtful about how to evolve. Now, the opposite is jumping around too much. You don't want to jump around too much. That's a nightmare, right?
Catches up with you.
Master something. And then if you've done all you've done that you can do there, then go on and master something else. So.
Well, that's all wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing about your company, about you, and about your story with your dad. It was wonderful. And the pearls you shared with our accelerators. It's been a great time talking with you. Thanks for being on the Prosper Brief, and thank you for tuning in. This is the Prosper Brief.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed today's episode with Jason Valentine. If you're inspired by these insights on leadership and innovation, be sure to like, subscribe, and stay with us as we continue to bring you stories from pioneers shaping the future of the industry. We'll see you next time here on the Prosper Brief.